Sometimes in life, you have to surround yourself with less so you can actually feel more. And in order to feel more, one must register a clear state of mind. Now, in order to have a clear state of mind, one must willingly choose to live more simplistically. To be simplistic is to treat complex issues and problems as if they are much simpler than they actually are. Now, there is a difference between experiencing a simplistic reality versus living a basic lackluster life. Adopting a simplistic lifestyle is all about reiterating clarity, self love, calmness, groundedness, and guidance into your life. Once you feel that you have somewhat of a stability and security in your life, you will feel an abundance of comfort and transparency that will translate to simplicity. On this episode of the Visionary Boss podcast, I'm going to give you 3 tips for uncovering and activating your inner calm anytime, any place, whether you're starting your day or need calm and groundedness in the middle of the day. My name is Kaylan Boss, and I want to welcome you to the Visionary Boss podcast, your guide to everything lifestyle from the mindset of a boss. In 2016, I launched the Visionary Boss to share the best in wellness, intentional lifestyle, and career. The Visionary Boss philosophy is that being a boss starts with governing thyself, mind, and psyche. This is a space for anyone who is seeking an improved quality of life, whether you're an entrepreneur, aspiring to have your own business, or you simply want to live more intentionally. So, we are just a few short days away from 2024, and everyone around me is getting a little bit more sentimental, introspective, and hey, I wouldn't mind if you called me Miss Introspective. And as everyone is reminiscing on the past 365 days, I can see that we're all keeping space for the next 365. When we think of resolutions and visions for the new year, we typically think of actions, plans, executions, the actual doing in life. But are you really thinking about yourself, your nature and emotional capacities, and even the ways in which you nurture yourself? So, before we get started on the 3 different ways to activate your inner calm, I really want to reiterate that the journey of finding your inner calm does not have to be daunting, nor does it have to be expensive. And I think I will forever stand by that. In a culture that always promotes buying this and buying that, you have to understand that activating your clarity is really an inside job, and it's a priceless mindset that starts and ends with you. So I'm very big on internal activation. I do think there are really great external factors and things that can help us reach a state of simplicity, like attending a yoga class or, you know, opting for healthier habits and spending time reading. But I don't think it has to be anything that is too time consuming or expensive again. Now, one of the most important things about activating that internal calm and that inner simplicity is to actually get rest. I work full time, I'm in grad school, I run and operate the Visionary Boss, but I also love going to the gym. I have hobbies like reading and writing, and I'm getting back into guitar practicing. And it really does feel like most moments in my day are occupied. And if I'm not super cognizant of how I use my free time, I can easily find myself staying up later than I would like and not getting enough rest. Everyone is really different when it comes to this, but I personally do not like relying on caffeinated energy drinks or coffee as a crutch because I feel like it's a temporary band aid that doesn't really address the real problem at hand, which is a lack of sleep. And when I do get a full night's rest, I feel more stabilized. I have high energy, but I'm also a lot more calm. And when I don't prioritize that aspect of my life, it really shows up when I'm at work or just running errands throughout the day. It's funny, so much of us really admire and love leisure, but we forget how to relax. And I must admit, I'm one of those people, but once I figured out a routine that helps me wind down at night, there's nothing like it. And you know, I can't end the day without having like this sacred quiet time. So to activate my inner calm, I think resting is really important, but I think also leading yourself up to that is important too. So right after I take a shower, I go to my room, I light a candle, But one thing I definitely do is use a diffuser, and I put a few drops of lavender in there, have the room like in a really altered, dreamy state. And then I mist my pillows in my bed with the Dr. Teal's lavender sleep mist. It has melatonin in it, so it's a total game changer. And by doing those two things alone, I feel a lot more relaxed and calm. And I really try to make sure I'm not on my phone before I go to bed. I'm not, looking at everything. I'm not looking at emails because that can get really distracting. And then you have your mind on so much other things besides just resting. And then the final thing that I do is I sleep with an eye mask. And I tried sleeping with an eye mask last year, and it took some getting used to and adjusting. But, after doing it for about a week, like there's no rest like it. So having the diffuser, having the sleep spray, and then having an eye mask, like I'm guaranteed to have a full night's rest and to be in a really altered, calm state for the next day. So, whenever I'm wanting to activate my inner calm, I always gravitate towards quietness. There is definitely an art in being still with no music, no extra scrolling, just silence. I think we should normalize quietness and normalize hearing our own voices at times because it is quite exhausting to always need background noise and stimuli. And I know it's a journey for a lot of people to gravitate towards not having to rely on the extra, and everyone's really different. But if I can do it, so can you, because there was definitely a time in my life where I could not leave the house without my AirPods. And I remember this summer when I was in Miami, I had misplaced them when I was on Miami Beach. So I'm not sure if they were ever uncovered or if they're somewhere in the sand, but I lost them and I had to go the rest of the week without my AirPods and, the rest of the week of traveling when we went to Chicago without my AirPods. And then when I got back to Tampa, I was like, you know what? Let me embrace this. And I think I went a good 2 or 3 months without having any AirPods at all. So I would go to the gym with no music. I would be at work, no music. And at first, you kind of miss it, but then it is really relaxing not having to have extra backgrounds and distractions and to really create your own pulse and pace of quietness. But I can't lie, as much as I love quietness, as soon as I got my AirPods back and I was at work, the first thing I listened to was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I got more into them last year, and then this year I got into Pepper, not to be confused with Red Hot Chili Peppers, but Pepper, the alternative reggae rock band. And when I tell you, I had 14,000 minutes of Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I had over 4,000 minutes of Pepper this year on my like Spotify and Apple like recap. And I don't know whether to be concerned or impressed, but I say all of that to say it really isn't balanced. So, you know, it's nice to have your music, it's nice to have your podcast and the things that you like that you find comfort in, but you can also find comfort and calmness and quietness with no music at all. And you learn to center yourself in quietness. So, the next thing that I do when I'm wanting to activate that inner calm is practicing my breath work. And I know I'm due for a little bit of breath work exercises whenever I get that heavy feeling in my chest and I have too much going on my mind. And luckily, there is a lot of good videos and resources on YouTube that will guide you into controlling your breath work. And I deliberately remember when I was a junior in high school, I had so much on my mind and on my plate. I was taking chemistry and anatomy at the same time, and it seemed like every week there was a test. Oh, and I was in English honors, and those assignments were so weighty. I had so many assignments and projects with that, and college was on the horizon. So, as you can imagine, I was preparing by filling out college admissions paperwork and essays. And I remember this was like towards the end of the year in anatomy. We had a 10-minute intermission in between lecture because we were studying for our exam. And our teacher was like, we should do a breathwork exercise. And when I tell you, the weight on my shoulders dropped. It was really a powerful experience learning how to do breath work and knowing how to control my breath and control my thoughts because one thing I've learned is life does not get easier. Like yes, we graduate from different phases and once you're done with school, you're thinking about your job. Once you're thinking about your job, you're moving towards in your career and then you have all these other things. So No matter what, life's obstacles and challenges will never go away. But when you learn to control your breath, you learn to slow down time and you learn how to control your thoughts, then you're able to be more present and you're just more competent in your ability to handle anything. Lately, I have gravitated more and more towards simplicity. And don't get me wrong, I have always lived a pretty much simplistic and calm life, but the more and more that I grow and experience, simplicity and finding my inner calm is a priority for me. It's a never fading lifestyle. And this past year, 2023 has been nothing short of lessons, confirmations, daydreams, and nightly ponders playing out into actual priceless moments. It has been spontaneous, once in a lifetime experiences that you have to live through to get. It's been a series of moving forward and then taking a swift glance back and seeing how everything aligned. It's that feeling when closure brushes past you, and it is God's way of confirming that everything happened for a reason, and you always have to trust Him. In 2023, I have learned to let go and let God, and I've learned how to forgive. Honestly, I've learned how to accept things and to be still. And now, as all of the lessons and experiences somewhat float in my direction at the very end of December, I am learning how to coexist. Certainly, life does go on. We move forward, we grow, we mentally evolve, we mature, and we discover new realizations and outlets that free our souls. We grow with other people and we grow into ourselves, and we unwrap ourselves from tangles of webs that we somehow once felt that were comfortable, but in actuality were facades. And the people and things that we managed to strike familiarity with can now sting like a wake up call. So I would usually say, oh, forget a new year. You have any day to grow, and you don't have to rely on a new set of 12 months to reinvent and to refocus. But as I reflect on the varying circumstances of my life, I find it incredibly convenient that the new year is approaching. I have taken a note of a lot of things that have added value and strength into my life, and I've also noted things I want to work on for myself. But nonetheless, I want to see myself healthy, growing, and strong for 2024, and I want the same for you. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Visionary Boss podcast. My name is Kaylan, and you can find me at the Visionary Boss on Instagram, Facebook, and all major social media platforms. My website is thevisionaryboss.com, and I can't wait to talk to you soon.